I wish to speak a word for nature, for absolute freedom and wildness.
With those words, Henry Thoreau began his well-known essay, Walking, based on a lecture he first gave in 1851. Born in Concord, Massachusetts in 1817, Thoreau would muse,
I have never got over my surprise that I should have been born into the most estimable place in all the world, and in the very nick of time, too.
Thoreau is famous as a student of philosophy, literature, poetry, and society, but he was also a careful and often original observer of the natural world.
I spend 4 hours a day at least sauntering through the woods and over the hills and fields.
And so he could claim, with both good reason and wonderful irony,
I have traveled a good deal in Concord.
on his daily walks he now made careful notes of when flowers first bloomed, when trees leafed out, when insects and birds appeared. Thoreau worked on this project for the last decade of his life, but died, still in Concord, of tuberculosis in 1862 at the age of 44. Ralph Waldo Emerson, in his eulogy of Thoreau, perceptively noted, "The country knows not yet, or in the least part, how great a son it has lost. It seems an injury that he should leave in the midst of his broken task." On his daily walks, Thoreau collected specimens of birds' nests, of insects, and especially of plants. He presented an unusual spectacle to his fellow Concordians. Emerson described one encounter. There came Henry, with music book under his arm to press flowers in, with telescope in his pocket to see the birds, and microscope to count stamens, with a diary, jackknife, and twine, in stout shoes and strong gray trousers, ready to brave the shrub oaks and smilax, and to climb the tree for a hawk's nest. His strong legs, when he wades, were no insignificant part of his armor. We hope to remind a new generation of Concordians and Thoreauvians that much of what Henry Thoreau described can still be found, if we but look.
How much virtue there is in simply seeing. I want to go soon and live away by the pond, where I shall hear only the wind whispering among the reeds. It will be success if I shall have left myself behind. But my friends will ask what I will do when I get there. Will it not be employment enough to watch the progress of the seasons? That dark-eyed water, is it not the first sign of spring? It excites me to see that black artery through the snow-clad town. I see and hear a redwing. It sings almost steadily on its perch there, as if to attract companions, calling the river to life and tempting the ice to melt. The birds anticipate the spring. They come to melt the ice with their songs. As soon as these spring mornings arrive in which the birds sing, I am sure to be an early riser. I am waked by my genius, and am surprised to find myself expecting the dawn in so serene and joyful and expectant a mood. I have an appointment with spring. This might be called the day of the snoring frogs, or the awakening of the meadows. This is the spring of the year. The willow catkin expands its bright yellow blossom without fear at the end of its twig. The willow catkin might be the emblem of spring. Houstonias. This pure and simple little flower peeps out and spots the great globe with white in our America. What a significant, though faint, utterance of spring through the veins of the earth. The moon is full. The air is filled with a certain luminous, liquid white light. The little peeper prefers a pool on the edge of a wood, which mostly dries up at midsummer. Theirs is a clear, sharp, ear-piercing peep. About half a dozen years ago, I found myself again attending to plants with more method. I began to bring them home in my hat, a straw one, which I called my botany box. I pass a young red maple whose keys hang down 3 inches or more and appear to be nearly ripe. Being in a favorable light, and being of a high color, it is a very beautiful object, more so than when in flower. There is a sweet, wild world which lies along the strain of a wood thrush, the rich intervals which border the stream of its song, more thoroughly genial to my nature than any other. One thing that chiefly distinguishes this season from 3 weeks ago is that fine, serene undertone or earth song as we go by sunny banks and hillsides, the creak of crickets, which affects our thoughts so favorably, imparting its own serenity. It is time now to bring our philosophy out of doors. Bullfrogs are now in full blast. What lungs, what health, what terenity, if not serenity, it suggests. The blue-eyed grass, now in its prime, occupies the drier and harder parts of the meadow, where I can walk dry-shod. But where the coarser sedge grows, and it is lower and wetter, there is none of it. I keep dry by following this blue guide. Blueberries and huckleberries deserve to be celebrated. Such simple, wholesome, universal fruits, food for the gods and for aboriginal men. I see many devil's needles zigzagging along the 2nd Division brook, some green, some blue, both with black and perhaps velvety wings. July 9th. At Pleasant Meadow I saw some golden or brownish golden winged devil's needles, and was struck by the manner in which they held to the tops of the rushes when they alighted, just on one side. A green bittern comes, noiselessly flapping, with stealthy and inquisitive looking to this side the stream and then that. This antediluvian bird is a fit emblem of a dead stream like this musketacook. This especially is the bird of the river. There is a sympathy between its sluggish flight and the sluggish flow of the stream. I love to follow up the course of the brook and see the cardinal flowers which stand in its midst above the rocks. They are brilliant scarlet, the more interesting in this open but dark, cellar-like wood. A dewy, cobwebbed morning. You observe the geometry of cobwebs, though most are of that gossamer character, close woven, as if a fairy had dropped her veil on the grass in the night. August 29th. Now the red osier berries are very handsome along the river, overhanging the water, for the most part pale blue mixed with whitish, part of the pendant jewelry of the season.